Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Ash Echoes. Now, in today's video, we are going to go over this tier list, and I'm pretty much going to talk about whether or not should you summon for CEN Ying, because she is going to be the first character in global release. So when we take a look at all the characters we have right now, you guys can see that we have CEN Ying. She's going to have her own banner. I think she's going to be a limited 6-star character. So there's not going to be two banners. I think there's only going to be one banner for version 1.0. There's probably going to be a second phase. I have no idea, but for the first phase, it is CEN Ying. So the real question is she worth summoning for? So as you guys can see, for the global server, CEN Ying is currently sitting in S tier. And then for the CN server, she is sitting in A tier. So before I even talk about this character, let's go ahead and talk about elements. So this game, the elemental system, after I made my first video, I decided to take a quick look at the game's mechanics and how the game works. And I will say that the gameplay is very similar to Genshin Impact when it comes to elemental reactions. So if I come back over here to home, I think it's guides. Yep, it's guides right here. And by the way, shout out to Pride Wind. They did an amazing job giving some information on his game. So as you guys can see, for fire element, it says enemies inside a fire zone take fire damage equal to 1% of their current HP per second, with the damage capped at the value of the TRM stat. And then for lightning, it says can trigger elemental reactions, explosion, electroconduct, like electrolyze, but do not generate elemental zones. Water, it says certain echomancers can generate water zones. In wet environments, water zones last longer and can even expand, while in dry environments, they dry out faster, yada yada yada. So you guys pretty much get the gist of it. There are different elements in this game. I'm pretty sure there are, if we count right here, there are 7 elements in total. And out of all the elements, physical and corrosion are very unique because physical doesn't have a elemental reaction. You can't trigger an elemental reaction with physical, so therefore you're not really going to get any, you're going to receive extra damage. It says right here, the damage reduction received from vaporization or the extra damage dealt by melt. So you're pretty much benefiting from, triggering elemental reactions between other elements. And if you have a physical unit on your team, they're going to benefit from that, elemental reaction. They're going to receive a reaction bonus. So they're not triggering the elemental reactions, they're just receiving the benefits of the reaction bonuses, and that's pretty much it. So physical, really unique. Corrosion is also unique as well. So you guys can see that with all the elemental reactions, fire plus water, that's an elemental reaction. Fire plus lightning, that's an elemental reaction. Fire and ice, and whatever. So these are only the elemental reactions in the game. And when we come back over here to the tier list, you guys can see that CEN Ying is a physical damage type unit. She's not really, an elemental character, so she can't trigger an elemental reaction. So I do feel like, putting her in an elemental team so that she can actually receive that reaction bonus is going to be very important. But the best thing is the fact that since she is S tier in global and she is still A tier in CN, it's actually pretty good overall. Like, that's pretty impressive. So I will say that this character, if you're planning on summoning for CEN Ying when the game officially launches, it wouldn't be a bad idea because she is, a pretty strong character overall. I haven't seen her gameplay or anything, but based off of what I'm seeing so far, when we take a look at this description, it says the core of physical and summoner teams. She boasts great anti-air and DPS abilities with stellar parade, offering extra tactical value thanks to its ample 8 uses. CEN Ying retains her value in CN, however, as her burst damage relies on her seat skill, her output can get suppressed in certain environments. So she is going to face certain issues, when you reach the end game, the late game. But at the early game, it seems like she is definitely going to be a DPS monster, and she's going to be very, very good in a physical and summoner team comp. So overall, it seems like this character is very powerful overall, and I might summon for her. Now, in her banner, you also have 3 5-star characters that you can get. It's going to be Simbeka. This character right here, you can get her for free if you participate in the Discord event. And you also get this unit right here, Caroline. She is a damage dealer. And then the last unit is, if I come back over here, I'm pretty sure it's this girl right here. We have Siphonis, I think that's how you say her name. I apologize, but her name is Siphonis, and she is a corrosion character. So the thing is, Siphonis is a buffer. She's probably a buffer or debuffer since she is in this category. And then Caroline is a DPS unit. So I will say, out of all the 5-star characters, Simbeka is definitely top tier for sure because she is in that specialist category. And it says right here, the most comprehensive 5-star, Simbeka can create water zones, trigger lightning reactions, use wind to blow away poisonous mist, and change the weather of the stage. She falls off in CN version due to the lack of damage output, but is still consistently used for her versatile utility to counter certain stage mechanics. So it seems like Simbeka is definitely going to be some sort of crowd control unit that's going to help you when it comes to, bypassing stage mechanics that pretty much hold your team back. So Simbeka seems like a pretty solid 5-star unit. Now for Siphonis. So it says she can be used in a corrosion and summoner team. Her main utility is to immobilize enemies. Siphonis can only use her active skill as a combo once and has to rely on her seat skill, which regenerates her HP and skill uses. Due to her low output and limited uses, Siphonis stays at C tier. So it seems like Siphonis is definitely a low tier unit due to the fact that she can only use her active skill one time. It says that she can only use her active skill as a combo once, and she has to rely on her seed skill. So the seed skill is probably like skill points. I don't know. It's probably skill points. But if that's the case, if she's really, restricted to her seed skill, then that can really hold her back. But the thing is, since she is an immobilizing unit, that can be pretty good for like water plus ice team comp, because when we take a look at the elemental reactions, ice is actually kind of cracked because it says right here, ice zones can be generated by certain Echomancer skills or by dealing ice damage to enemies inside a water zone. Ice zones are significantly easier to generate and keep in wet environments. Enemies inside an ice zone will be frozen. Ice damage on frozen enemies has a chance to trigger Frostbreak, killing them instantly. Ice definitely sounds like the most cracked elemental, not the elemental, but it sounds like the most cracked element in the game so far, due to the fact that you can instantly kill an enemy if that character triggers Frostbreak. But of course, I don't think that's going to be the case against bosses. I think bosses are going to be immune to Frostbreak, because there's definitely going to be certain situations where enemies are going to be immune to frozen, to a freeze. They're not gonna be able to freeze bosses or, difficult enemies. So this is definitely going to be really, really good for like enemy mobs when you pair up a water unit with the ice unit. And the fact that, Safana, whatever her name is, the fact that she's able to immobilize enemies, that can actually be pretty nice. It can increase the chances of you immobilizing, not immobilizing, but it can increase the chances of you freezing enemies because they're all standing in one spot. Freeze them and you instantly kill them. So it seems like she's definitely going to be some sort of tech unit, but is she going to be very effective at the late game? Who knows? So I'm not going to say that Siphonis is trash. It's just that it seems like as of to right now, her presence in the current meta is just not, that effective. Her presence isn't that crazy, like compared to characters like, CEN YING and these other units. And last but not least, we have Caroline. The description for her, it says Caroline's performance in the corrosion team is particularly outstanding. Caroline's leader skill, Deep Corrosion, is also one of the indispensable components of the corrosion team. In addition, Caroline can change his attack method. Why does it say his? I'm pretty sure this is a girl. Or her attack method through the skill of choice to switch between AoE attacks or healing the team. Her main disadvantage is her usefulness being limited to the corrosion team. So this unit seems pretty interesting, and the fact that they said that she's a key component for corrosion teams seems pretty solid. So I will say Caroline is probably going to be a good pick as well. Once you're summoning for a CEN YING, if you end up getting Caroline, you can probably build a corrosion team around her. So out of all the characters, I will say Simbeka, Caroline are definitely the best out of all the 3 characters overall. But Siphonis, I will say Siphonis is the weakest one out of all of them. But I do feel like Siphonis is going to be a tech unit. She's probably going to be some sort of tech unit. And you're going to have to, find a way on how to make this character useful. And That way is by using probably a water team alongside with an ice team, freezing enemies. And if you want to increase the chances of you freezing that opponent, you can use Siphonis so that you can immobilize that enemy. Maybe that's the way to do it. I don't know. But for Sin Ying, I think this character is definitely going to be worth it, considering how she's a physical damage type unit and how physical characters can pretty much benefit from, that reaction bonus. They can't trigger elemental reactions, but they can receive, I think they can receive the bonus effect once that elemental reaction triggers. So I'm definitely going to summon for this character. And should you guys summon for her? I think you should. I think you should definitely take the opportunity to summon for this unit. Power creep, and power creep is in every gacha game, unfortunately. But the fact that she is definitely in the top pick category in the CN version is a good sign. So I think this unit is definitely worth it. It seems like she's definitely a good unit to pick up for sure. And considering how we're getting a lot of rewards for Ash Echoes, like if you pre-registered, should definitely try to re-roll for this character. I think CEN YING is definitely going to be a good unit to re-roll for. And when I take a look at Ice Element, I mean, damn, Ice Element looks crazy overall. Like every single character I see that's Ice, most of them are in S or A tier, right? You have Ivana who's in that S tier. You have, I think that's pretty much it. But when you look at the CN version, there's a couple more characters, Ice characters who are in that S tier. You have Boreas, you have, who else do we have here? Another Ice unit. We have Thing, Shink. Dude, these names are complicated. I'm just gonna say Fang for now. But we have this character who's also S tier. Ice Element seems pretty solid, but it seems like Water Element is definitely top tier. You have so many Water Element characters who are up there. Water Element is definitely good as well because he received that water damage bonus, which is pretty good overall. But man, I'm excited for this game. We have 14 more hours left until the game officially launches, and I am definitely going to drop some more content for you guys. And I'm excited to see what this game has in store for us. So once again, is CEN YING worth summoning for? I think she is. I think she is definitely a unit worth summoning for, considering how she is still in that S tier for the global server, and then for the CN server, she is still in the top pick category. I think she's definitely worth it. Skipping her just to summon for another character who's probably going to be in the good pick category, it's not going to be really good. So I would take the opportunity to, get a copy on CEN YING, because she seems like a really good DPS unit. So that's pretty much it. Make sure you guys go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. I really appreciate it. And I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Peace.